It was a quiet night on December 3, 2024 in Orchards, north of Pretoria. The streets were almost empty, save for the occasional glimmer of passing headlights and the soft hum of the streetlights illuminating the silent neighborhood. At 9:34 p.m., a man arrived home in his black BMW X3, stopping at the familiar gate of his apartment complex. The man sat patiently, waiting for the gate to slide open. First, everything seemed normal, but the man was unaware that in just seconds, his calm routine was about to spiral into chaos. From behind, a blue sedan appeared, its headlights cutting through the dark as it slowed down ominously. At first glance, it seemed like just another car turning the corner. But before the man could glance back again, suddenly the car stopped abruptly, and its doors flew open. 3 figures in hooded jackets and masks leapt out, moving with chilling precision. 2 carried firearms, their barrels gleaming under the yellow light, while the third clutched a hammer, his intent unmistakable. The man froze. Panic flooded his chest as one of the gunmen pointed directly at him. Without warning, a shot cracked through the night, glass shattered. The BMW's window exploded into fragments. The man ducked instinctively, heart pounding as adrenaline took over. The attacker with the hammer rushed forward, smashing what was left of the window. In seconds, the suspects surrounded the vehicle. The man inside tried to reach for his phone, but a gun muzzle pressed against his face stopped him cold. "Out! Get out!" one of them barked. Terrified, he obeyed. They yanked open the door and dragged him out, their movements fast and brutal. They rifled through his pockets. 2 iPhones, a wallet, and whatever valuables they could find vanished in an instant. The man pleaded, trembling, but his words were drowned by the thumping of his own heartbeat. The gunman in blue motioned toward the blue car, and with no time to think, they shoved the man inside. The doors slammed shut, and the car screeched away into the night. One of the attackers remained behind for a brief moment. He glanced around, then climbed into the victim's BMW, turned the key, and sped off behind that car. Within seconds, both cars had vanished, leaving behind nothing but broken glass and the echo of tires tearing down the road. The entire scene had unfolded in under 2 minutes. By the time police arrived, the suspects were gone. Hours later, the man was found alive and shaken in Lotus Gardens, disoriented but unharmed. The relief was overwhelming, but the trauma lingered like a shadow. The CCTV footage captured everything: the flash of the muzzle, the hammer's swing, the frantic abduction. Faces hidden, but movements distinct. Authorities released the clips, hoping someone would recognize the men from their clothes, gestures, or vehicles. As dawn broke over Pretoria, The footage circulated across newsrooms and social media, a haunting reminder of how quickly an ordinary night could descend into terror. For the man who lived it, each sound of screeching tires would forever bring him back to that night at the gate, the night when safety shattered like glass. It was a bright Friday morning in Lusaka, September 15, 2023. The sun hung high over Sheki Road, and life moved at its usual pace. Cars rolling by, shop doors opening, and people going about their business. Outside a small grocery store, camera silently recorded everything, unaware it was about to capture a shocking scene. At 9:57 a.m., a silver van pulled up in front of the store. It parked calmly by the side of the building, one of its rear wheels replaced with a worn-out spare. A few seconds later, another silver sedan slid into the parking space beside it. The two vehicles sat quietly, their metallic surfaces glinting in the sunlight. Moments later, a man dressed in white traditional clothing stepped out of the van. He adjusted his bag over his shoulder and looked around. Everything seemed normal. He made his way into the grocery store. For the next several minutes, nothing seemed out of place. The street looked peaceful. The vehicles remained where they were, silent and still, as if waiting. Then, at 10:20 a.m., the man in white emerged from the store, holding his bag. He seemed relaxed, scrolling on his phone, perhaps about to head home. He walked toward his car and opened the driver's door, preparing to place his bag inside. But then, something changed. Suddenly, from the nearby parked sedan, the passenger window rolled down, slowly, almost silently. Inside, a man was watching him. As the victim leaned toward his car seat, the suspect suddenly reached out through the open window and snatched the bag from behind. Startled, the man in white spun around, trying to pull it back. A struggle broke out right there in the parking lot, one man clinging to his bag, the other refusing to let go. In that tense moment, the suspect pulled out something shiny. A gun. The victim froze for a split second, shocked. But in the chaos, the suspect's grip slipped, and the firearm fell, right into the victim's hands. It should have turned the tables, but panic took over. The suspect started the car, slamming the accelerator. The sudden jolt pulled the bag free, and as the car sped off, the victim fell hard onto the pavement. The whole attack lasted mere seconds. The sedan vanished from the frame, leaving behind dust, silence, and the stunned man sprawled on the ground, still clutching the gun that wasn't his. He slowly got up, his white robes dust-stained, but his life intact. The CCTV camera continued to record as he stood there for a moment, breathing heavily, then began walking away, shaken but alive. Later, investigators would arrive, reviewing the footage frame by frame. The cars, faces, and every detail were clearly visible. The timestamp, the license plates, the gun, the snatch, the fall, everything. What was supposed to be an ordinary shopping stop turned into a daylight armed robbery, caught in chilling clarity. A reminder: sometimes danger doesn't hide in the shadows. Sometimes it waits for you in broad daylight, right outside your neighborhood store. It was the quiet of the night on May 27, 2011. The air was still, and the only sound echoing through the narrow gallery of the house was the occasional hum of the streetlights outside. The CCTV camera, fixed in the corner above the balcony, blinked steadily, an unassuming witness to what was about to unfold. At 2:26 a.m., the calm was shattered. A shadow emerged from the edge of the frame, a man wearing a blue t-shirt, white gloves, and a mask that obscured his face. He moved carefully, scanning the balcony, ensuring that the house lay silent and dark inside. Convinced that everyone was asleep, he gripped the metal railing, hoisted himself up, and slipped into the balcony like a ghost in the night. Moments later, his partner in crime appeared, shorter, dressed in dark clothes, and equally cautious. He climbed over the same railing, landing softly beside the first man. Together they crouched, whispering, their eyes darting around as if expecting movement from inside. But the night wasn't done introducing its players. The third suspect appeared next. He climbed quickly, eager and impatient, a faint glimmer of sweat visible under the dim light. As he dropped inside, the three men exchanged quick hand gestures, a silent conversation of coordination and urgency. Then, a fourth figure approached from the shadows. Unlike the others, he didn't climb immediately. Instead, he reached over the railing, handing tools, a crowbar, a wrench, maybe even a screwdriver, to his partners inside. The others accepted them swiftly, preparing for what seemed to be a well-planned burglary. But fate had another plan. As the fourth man finally tried to climb over, gripping the same metal railing, Suddenly a loud creak echoed through the silent night. Before he could react, one of the bars snapped beneath his weight. Then bang. There was a sharp clang, followed by a loud thud as the man crashed to the floor below. For a moment, everything froze. Then chaos erupted. The homeowner, startled awake by the crash, shouted from inside, "Who's there?" Panic gripped the intruders. The three men inside froze, their faces pale under the masks. One of them stumbled backwards, almost tripping over his own feet. Within seconds, the gallery that had been full of stealth and control turned into a scene of utter confusion. The man who had fallen groaned in pain, struggling to get up, while the others, realizing their cover was blown, scrambled back over the railing, abandoning their unlucky companion. The homeowner's voice grew louder, the sound of locks clicking echoing through the corridor. The three thieves didn't wait another second. They fled into the darkness, their hurried footsteps fading away, leaving behind a broken railing, scattered tools. Though the event carried an element of slapstick irony, one man's fall ruining an entire plan, it was also a chilling reminder of the vulnerability that lurks in the stillness of night. The CCTV footage, however, captured every detail: their clothes, actions, and tools, invaluable evidence that would later help investigators track them down. That night's incident served as a lesson to many. Be alert, especially during the silent hours. Install motion-detecting cameras, ensure alarms are active, and secure your surroundings, because not every break-in ends with karma doing the work. Sometimes, a moment of vigilance is all that stands between safety and loss. It was a quiet night in the suburbs, the kind where even the streetlights seemed to hum in the stillness. The porch camera blinked silently, recording the gentle sway of the bushes under the cold breeze. Everything looked normal, too normal. At 11:42 p.m., movement stirred at the edge of the frame.
Yo.
Yes, it's package.
I don't have a package.
Get out of here!
A man emerged from the shadows, walking up the driveway with measured calm. He carried a rectangular parcel tucked neatly in his hands. His face, pale under the infrared glow, appeared emotionless, almost robotic. He stopped before the porch, adjusted his grip on the box, and looked straight into the camera, his eyes glinting unnaturally under the night vision light. Moments later, the chime of the doorbell broke the silence. Inside, the homeowner stirred. It was late, but the man outside looked like an ordinary delivery worker. Plain shirt, casual pants, box in hand. Against better judgment, the homeowner opened the door slightly, peering through the gap. The man's voice was calm and low.
Yo.
Yes, it's package.
I don't have a package.
"This is a parcel," he said, holding the parcel out. "I didn't order anything," the homeowner replied, confusion flickering across his face. For a brief second, silence hung in the air. Then everything changed. The man's expression hardened. Suddenly, with intense force, he pushed the homeowner and tried to break in. The homeowner stumbled back, barely managing to slam the door shut before the intruder could push his way in. The sound of the impact echoed through the house, a sharp, hollow thud followed by frantic rattling at the handle. The porch camera caught it all: the man's action, his arm pushing against the door, his cunning face under the glare as he tried to force it open. When he realized the door was locked tight, he stepped back, breathing heavily. His figure wavered for a moment, then turned sharply and vanished into the dark street. The homeowner, shaken but safe, called the police immediately. When officers arrived minutes later, the mysterious parcel was gone, taken with the suspect. Only the footage remained, a chilling record of a calm intruder who came not to deliver, but to deceive. That night became a warning for the neighborhood, a stark reminder that danger doesn't always knock loudly. Sometimes it rings the bell politely and waits with a box in hand. It was a cold, quiet night on March 27, 2025. At Jet's Pizza, located at 5135 Lake Michigan Drive in Allendale Township, the streets were deserted, the lamps casting long shadows across the empty parking lot. Inside the restaurant, the last of the lights had gone out hours ago. Chairs and tables were arranged properly in the outer area of the restaurant, the cash drawers locked, and silence filled the air, except for the faint hum of the security cameras. Till 11:50 p.m., everything appeared perfectly still. Then, suddenly, from the corner of the frame, a shadow began to move. A lone figure stepped into view. A man dressed in a light-colored hoodie, jeans, and glasses. He moved with intent, cautious yet determined, the glow of the nearby streetlights glinting off something metallic in his hand. A crowbar. The man approached the patio gate, his movements quick but deliberate. He crouched slightly, prying at the latch with his tool. Within seconds, the gate swung open with a faint creak. He glanced around, once to the left, then to the right, before slipping inside the enclosed patio area. He made straight his way to the glass patio door, trying to force it open with the crowbar. When it didn't open, his patience snapped. He raised the tool high and struck the door with brutal force, once, twice, and a third time. The sound of shattering glass echoed through the night, sharp and chilling against the emptiness of the parking lot. With a shove, the intruder slipped through the broken doorway and vanished into the dark interior of the store. Inside, the security cameras continued their silent watch. At 11:57 p.m., one of them caught the man creeping through the dining area, weaving between rows of stacked chairs. His figure was ghostly under the dim infrared glow. He headed straight for the front counter, where the cash registers waited. He tried the first one, locked. He tugged at the drawer, shook it, then struck it with the crowbar. When it didn't budge, he turned to the next register, prying and forcing until the latch gave way. A dull click, a brief moment of triumph, and he was inside. He grabbed the cash hastily, stuffing it into his pockets before wrenching at another register. When that too resisted, he yanked it free entirely, setting it aside to take with him. All the while, he kept adjusting his hood, occasionally glancing up at the ceiling as if aware of the silent eyes watching him. But the cameras saw everything: his posture, his clothes, the reflection of his glasses, even the way he tried to conceal his face each time he leaned into the register's glow. By 11:58 p.m., the man had looted what he could. He rifled through drawers, scanned the counters for valuables, and then disappeared down the hallway toward the back of the store. Another camera captured him there, moving quickly past the kitchen sinks and prep tables, his crowbar still in hand. He checked corners, glanced at the exit door, then slipped through it into the night. The timestamp read 12 hours, 0 minutes, 25 seconds a.m. The man was gone. At 1 a.m., the owner, Jim Petty's, was awakened by a call from the security company. "There's been a break-in at your store," the voice said. Heart pounding, Jim threw on his coat and rushed to Jet's Pizza, dialing 911 on the way. By the time the police arrived, the shattered glass glistened under their flashlights like frost, and the faint smell of dust and metal lingered in the air. Investigators reviewed the footage and quickly discovered that this was not an isolated incident. The same suspect had broken into 2 other restaurants in the area that very night, following a similar pattern: forced entry, smashed registers, and cash stolen. The realization sent a chill down Jim's spine. He had always believed such crimes happened elsewhere, not in their quiet township. The sense of violation was deep. Someone had invaded not just his store, but his peace of mind. The authorities began an urgent search for the suspect, circulating stills from the footage and tracing potential getaway routes. Though the man had escaped into the darkness, his every movement, his methods, his tools, even the way he tried to hide, had been recorded in sharp, undeniable detail. The incident stands as a stark reminder to every business owner: security cameras alone are not enough. A motion detector or real-time alert system could have stopped the intruder in his tracks, saving valuable time, money, and peace of mind. That night at Jet's Pizza, the cameras captured the crime, but the lesson they left behind was far greater. Vigilance never sleeps. It was the evening of October 31st, 2024, a crisp Halloween night in the quiet suburbs. The faint orange glow from porch lights and scattered decorations shimmered gently across the lawns. The neighborhood seemed calm, only the soft rustling of leaves and distant laughter of trick-or-treaters breaking the silence. Outside one house, the Ring camera blinked to life, its wide eye capturing the stillness of dusk. A silver sedan sat parked in the driveway. The candy dish waited expectantly on the porch, and hanging from the archway, a skeleton swayed lazily in the autumn breeze. Everything looked peaceful, until it wasn't. At exactly 6:51 p.m., a golf cart rolled into view from the left of the frame, its headlights dim, like a conspirator sneaking into the night.
Marico, ven, ayúdame. No, no, no puedo.
Llévate la canasta.
Marico, no. Ven, apúrate, ven. Marico, cállate.
Two young men were aboard, one in white, one in dark clothing. The cart slowed to a stop in front of the house, and the man in white hopped out, clutching a black duffel bag. He paused, glancing at the candy dish on the porch, perhaps calculating whether it was worth the effort. Then, turning back, he shouted something to his partner on the cart. The partner, wanting to help, stepped out too. And that's when it happened. A sudden loud bang. The golf cart, left in neutral and unattended, began to roll forward on its own. At first, neither noticed. The man in white had his back turned, fiddling with his bag, while the other man was halfway across the lawn. By the time they realized what was happening, the cart was already drifting away, like a mischievous spirit taking its leave. "Hey, the cart!" someone yelled. Both of them lunged, but it was too late. With a soft but unmistakable crunch, the cart bumped straight into the AC unit by the side of the house. The metallic thud echoed through the quiet evening. There was a frozen moment of disbelief, then panic. The two men stared at the scene, their faces a mix of guilt and shock, before scrambling back onto the runaway cart. They sped off, tires squealing against the pavement, disappearing into the distance. The Ring camera watched it all, silent, impartial, and merciless. Every detail, their clothes, their voices, their clumsy escape. Later, the homeowner would find the damage, an AC repair bill of $2,500, all because of a few seconds of carelessness. The whole thing became neighborhood gossip by morning. Some called it a prank gone wrong, others called it karma. But to the homeowner, it was a lesson. Sometimes the thieves don't get away with your things, they just leave you a bill instead.